Hey, what is up, everyone? The LDB is back at it again, coming at you today with another Outriders video, and today I'm going to be showing you my triple turret Borealis build. This thing is an absolute ripper. I mean, definitely my favorite build as of right now. It just makes things so easy. Any 15 just breeze right through it, not even have to look at your ammo or your health bar. I mean, I've been loving it. So, as always, I hope you enjoy and find this video helpful. If you do, please do me a huge favor and smash that like button. Subscribe for future content if you are new to the channel, and be sure to drop a comment down there below. So, let's take a look at this.
Alright, Zahidi. I found one of our pods. And as a bonus, we can all start bathing again.
Excellent. That water's gonna be a lifesaver, Outrider. I'll be sure to bring something to use it.
Alright everyone, so I hope you enjoyed that. Now let's check out this class tree really quick, get a few things out of the way, and we'll move on to the good stuff. Now please just bear with me for a couple of minutes here. Obviously I am not running the middle tree like the majority of people are doing for their triple turret builds, and I have a handful of reasons why, and if you hear me out, there's a good chance you're going to change up the way you're running things. Okay, so the reasons that I'm not going to be using the middle tree for this build essentially comes down to, well, the nodes on the middle tree. I feel like on a DPS build, the vast majority of these nodes are going to be wasted chasing this extra 30% freeze damage down here and the end cap node. Basically just fighting with the cooldowns, and even if you are running all firepower pieces with a full middle tree, you're lacking the numbers. It is what it is. The time to kill is terrible. You need to reload all the time, lose your blighted rounds, etc., etc. And you know, I will explain why. Let's take a look over here. We're going to be chasing after a whole bunch of extra armor, health, as well as cooldown. That's a big one right there. The cooldown on your cryo turret is pretty much terrible, and when you are going to be using this to get your weapon damage up with this end node here, getting your weapon damage up 40% for 10 seconds whenever you throw out your cryo turret, you know, to me that's just kind of crazy. Now yes, you can use the tier 3 mod that comes on the Borealis lower armor that cuts the cryo turret cooldown in half, cuts it down by 50%. But then you are going to be losing a damage slot in your build. You know, you could always put Euthanizer, Sharp Eye, you know, Bloodlust, or, you know, even some Toxic Lead or something like that to get your ammo back in place of it. And when you're speccing into all of this kind of stuff, all of this armor and health and all that good stuff, none of those things equal out to be any extra damage. That's my problem with it. You're basically going to be using your build to you know, put out any kind of damage and not your tree. You're going to be giving up, you know, the extra toxic damage up here, as well as the extra magazine size, 30% long range damage, which is actually how, you know, the Technomancer is supposed to be used at, you know, at a distance. And then we have you know, some armor piercing here. We've got assault rifle damage in a couple of places here, just base weapon damage. I mean, all those things are just thrown out the window when you go with mid tree chasing a whole bunch of armor, health, just so you can get an extra 30% freeze damage. Doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't make sense to me. So what I did was basically just scrap the whole back end here of the middle tree, and I went with top tier because your blighted turret is much easier to use. And as you can see, you can still get the same buff, 40% of weapon damage for 10 seconds, and down here's 40% weapon damage for 10 seconds. So everybody knows that the blighted turret is much easier to get back. You know, you don't really even have to fight with it, and you'll get it back in 5-6 seconds. And when you throw that out there to get your weapon damage up, it is just so much easier. And again, you're going to be getting all the toxic damage, the mag size, the long range damage, you know, all the goodies along with it. Now, with that being said, I've seen a lot of the mid-tree builds. They're running about 35,000 health, and I have about 32,000 on this build, so I'd have to say it's pretty comparable. And the way I did that was basically put 2 nodes of max health on here, one here and one here. And then I went ahead and, spoiler alert, I put 2 pieces of max health on my actual build. Now, a lot of people might think, you know, well, you're crazy for doing that. Why would you do that? Well, let me just put it this way. I would rather put 2 pieces of max health on my build compared to just committing my entire tree to it and losing all of the actual damage that the top tree has to offer. Hope you guys are understanding where I'm going with this. Now, one more thing before we go ahead and move on really quick. I just want to break this down for you guys. If you're running mid-tree with the correct talents on your gear pieces, you can max your freeze damage out at 170%. You got to think Borealis itself gives you 90%. But regardless, you get 170% running mid-tree for the freeze and 40% for toxic. That added up is equal to 210% status damage, I guess you could say, right? If you're combining the frozen and the toxic damage. Now, if you're running top tree with the correct talents on your gear, you can get 140% freeze damage, so we lose that 30% because that's what's over there on the end piece, right? But we gain a little bit of toxic damage to 65%. Now, 140 plus 65 is 205. So if you're running mid-tree, you get 210% status damage. Compared to the top tree, you get 205% status damage. And you might be thinking, well, so you're losing with top tree, but you're gaining all of this. You're gaining all of this, and you're still going to have relatively about the same amount health. Your armor might be a little bit more, obviously, if you're using the middle tree, but you're sacrificing all the damage in place of it. So I hope you guys understand where I'm going with this. I know I talked a lot about this. I'm just trying to break this down because I see a lot of people using middle tree, and I see that they are lacking a lot of numbers. So it is what it is, guys. Hope you understand where I'm going with this. Now let's move on to the skills. Okay, so on to the skills here. Obviously, I'm going to be using the cryo turret, the blighted rounds, as well as the blighted turret. Now, the blighted turret is supposed to be dealing toxic damage, right? But I have it swapped out on my mask so that it is going to be freezing the enemies. That way, I have 3 turrets that are going to be freezing. Just throw them all out there, and you just create a wall of freezing turrets. Pretty hard to get by, and if they do, they don't last too long. Then I have the blighted rounds on there, obviously to inflict the toxic, and for them to share a little bit of damage. So pretty straightforward on that one. Alright everyone, so here we go. Finally, we get to move on to the good stuff. Now as you can see over here, base firepower sitting at 187,000, not too bad. Our anomaly power, 44.3. Our health is at 32,000, and like I had mentioned before on other builds that I've seen using the mid-tree, their health is usually sitting around 35,000. We're at 32, so I'd have to say we're pretty comparable there, and our armor is still at 55,000. So for a DPS build, I'd have to say we are pretty well-rounded. Now as far as my primary weapon goes, has to be the Amber Vault. I frickin' love this weapon. I cannot get away from it. Comes with armor piercing, healing received, close range damage on there. I wish that close range was a little bit of long range, but you know, it is what it is. When they get close, you get that extra little 10%, but the talents are what make it. You got Killing Spree on here. Killing shots increase your damage 25% for 20 seconds, and that stacks up to 3 times, so that's 75% bonus weapon damage. And then Dark Sacrifice, as soon as you get into combat, you get another 75% weapon damage. So that's 150% weapon damage up right there on the weapon itself. Forget the pieces and all the other talents, all that other stuff going on. 150% right there on the primary weapon. Now for my secondary weapon, I really am not even using the Lucky Jinx. The only reason I have this on here essentially is because it comes with ultimate toxic bullets on there. So if I do lose my blighted round somehow, then you just pull this thing out and you're still going to be doing the toxic damage. So pretty straightforward on the weapons. Now let's get on to the gear pieces. Alrighty, we can start out with the first piece here, the headgear, the crown of the Borealis Monarch. But first, let's take a look at what we're actually going to get from the Borealis set. As you can see at the bottom, it increases the damage on frozen enemies by 90%. 90. Gotta love that right there. Now, this piece comes with bonus firepower, status power, and long-range damage with the talent Twins for the cryo turret already on it. 2 turrets can be placed before triggering the cooldown. So pretty straightforward on that. Then I went ahead and put ice component on there for the blighted turret. Their turret now inflicts freeze instead of toxic. So anything that I throw out there as far as turrets go is just going to be freezing everything. Gotta love that right there. Okay, so on to the upper armor. Nothing crazy, just a purple chest piece, bonus firepower, cooldown reduction, and long range damage. And I went ahead and put radical therapy on there, deal 15% more damage against enemies afflicted by toxic. And it already came with bloodlust on there, so hey, pretty straightforward on that. This is a nice DPS piece. Alrighty, so on to the lower armor here. The waistcloth of the Borealis comes with bonus firepower, status power, and long-range damage. And I went ahead and put toxic lead on there. Killing shots on enemies afflicted with toxic replenish 40% of the ammo in your magazine. And with a build like this running top tree and all of these damage up talents on the build, half of them I haven't even showed you yet, but regardless, the time to kill is so short that this is going off all the time, and I honestly really don't even pay attention to my ammo. I mean, it's just always there. It is what it is, so I've been loving that. And it's really easy to pair whatever you want on the build with this piece because it already comes with freezing boost on it. So that toxic lead slot, you could put whatever you want there. But the freezing boost obviously gives you another 15% damage to anything affected by the freeze. So, I mean, pretty strong piece right there, I'd have to say. Alrighty, so on to the gloves here. They are the gloves of the Borealis. Comes with max health on them, cooldown reduction, and long-range damage. And it's really nice because these already come with shatter on them, deal 25% more damage against enemies afflicted by freeze. And then I just went ahead and slapped Captain Hunter on there, so any kind of elite gets another 25% damage on top of the shatter. So pretty straightforward on that. Now, I will have to mention that this is a max health piece, and so are the boots. Like I was saying on the class tree, I would much rather sacrifice 2 pieces on the build for max health than commit the entire class tree to health and armor, if that makes sense to you guys. So other than that, let's get on to these boots. Alrighty, so on to the final piece here. They are the boots of the Borealis. They come with max health, cooldown reduction, and long range damage. And yes, I am going to be using 4 pieces of the Borealis set on this build. And that is simply because it makes lining up your talents just butter. It makes it so easy, it is pathetic. Like I was saying before, on the gloves, they already come with shatter, so you can, throw Captain Hunter or whatever you want on there. The lower armor already has freezing boost on there. And the headgear already has twins on there for the cryo turret. Not so much anything special for the chest piece because we're not going to be using the cold snap, so just find something to kind of replace it like I did here, and it's been working out amazing. And then it gets even better when you take a look at the boots because they already come with sharp eye on them. Killing enemies while aiming down sights grants you 16,000 firepower for 20 seconds, stacks up to 3 times, and then you got that empty slot at the bottom. You can just slap Euthanizer on there and deal 25% more damage against enemies afflicted by toxic, and just mow them down, guys. I mean, it has been amazing running this. I have been loving it. I hope you guys enjoyed and found this video helpful. If you did, please do me a huge favor and smash that like button. Subscribe for future content if you are new to the channel, and be sure to drop a comment down there below. So until next time, guys, I hope you take it easy. I will see you then. Later.